how difficult it is to carve things into shell casings? Like, it might not, I mean, at the very least, it's tedious. Or he's got a cool machine to do it, which would be cool. Like one of those engravers, you know?
The Viberpine.
What?
A Viberpine pen.
What's a Viberpine pen?
No, it's a pen that vibrates like ultrasonic, and you can just engrave anything that can be engraved.
Oh. Well, that's pretty cool.
Ooh. Maybe they engraved it before they made it?
Yes, I was about to say. He had a silencer, which likely means he has a license for a silencer, which is going to lead to him getting caught. Or he bought it black market. Or he made it. Oh, he probably made it.
Interesting.
He probably does his own, he makes his own ammo, which is not crazy. You can collect shell casings, you know, from the range, or you can buy them. So he could easily, have just made his own reloads. You don't just accidentally, on 3 bullets, just accidentally write 3 full words. It's a message.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Well, it is post-Thanksgiving now. Everyone survived fighting with their families over politics. We did this thing where everyone got to, say what you're thankful for. That thing, And so when it got to me, I start off, I go, I'm thankful for Donald J. Then I did my real answer. But found out that my aunt's son is going to be following Marco Rubio to his next position, so he'll be in the State Department for a little bit.
Whoa.
He's like an assistant or something, and I think he's not long for the job, but you got to go to the State Department.
Interesting.
Yeah,
nice resume builder.
Yeah, I want a tour. I want a tour of the CIA. That's what I want. All right. Well, some things are happening. We're going to start with what's kind of the hot goss going on right now, and that is UnitedHealth CEO got shot in Manhattan in just the middle of the day. There was a conference at a hotel, and this dude just waited for a while and popped him. And then went on his merry way. Waited for like an hour or something. Here, we'll jump into it and kind of hop in and out reading this article from the New York Post. We'll get to that in a second. Well, yeah, so here's the new twist, is they got the shell casings, and there's messages written on them. Okay, so the at-large suspect who gunned down UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside a Midtown hotel may have left a message. NYPD investigating the possible message. I mean, what? Do you know how difficult it is to carve things into shell casings? Like, it might not, I mean, at the very least, it's tedious and you're going to cut your fingers a few times, Like, this is not fun. Or he's got a cool machine to do it, which would be cool. Like one of those engravers,
A Viberpine.
What?
A Viberpine pen.
What's a Viberpine pen?
It's a pen that vibrates like ultrasonic, and you can just engrave anything that can be engraved.
Oh. Well, that's pretty cool.
But it's you have to have a steady hand because the vibration will drive it all over the place.
And I'd be really... I know the firing pin is under, so if you don't know, like a bullet, you have the shell casing and that little circle at the bottom, there's a firing pin there, so when you strike it, that thing sparks, and that ignites the gunpowder and all that. So theoretically, there shouldn't be a spark on the casing, but I know I would have concerns. Ooh.
Maybe they engraved it before they made it?
Yes, I was about to say, because what we're going to read into this, that he had a silencer, which likely means he has a license for a silencer, which is going to lead to him getting caught. Or he bought it black market, which is kind of rad. Or he made it. Oh, he probably made it.
Interesting.
He probably does his own, he makes his own ammo, which is not crazy. That might sound like a crazy thing, but my very not crazy father likes to make his own ammo. You just need a couple machines and a scale. A little hand press thing.
Or somebody else did for him.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But bring someone else in the mix. You got someone that can rat on you. Because, people that shoot a lot, especially if you do like competitive shooting, a lot of them like to make their own ammo because you can get the exact grain, Like, I want it exactly like this. And you shoot it, you go, oh, I didn't like how that flew. Let me adjust it. So you can make those adjustments. So, yeah, And you can collect shell casings, from the range, or you can buy them. So he could easily, have just made his own reloads. And so you engrave it first, maybe with the fancy pen or not. And then you make your thing. But still, these are steps. You don't just accidentally, on 3 bullets, just accidentally write 3 full words. It's a message. It's a message. If it wasn't a message, it's probably the whole reason he shot 3 times. Maybe he shot more than that. We'll see in the article. I don't know. But, say he nailed him with the first shot. Well, hell. You wrote on the damn bullets. You're going to use them. I mean, right?
Put the effort in.
For real. It's part of the puzzle. It's part of the puzzle. He did this for a message. You're going to use those bullets. Why wouldn't you? If you had once upon and then you just left it there, be like, I don't know. What's the rest? It's you could unload that clip. Or that magazine. Anyway. So I guess back to it here. So they appear to include the words. Maybe it was sloppy. Maybe it was hard with that pen. Deny, depose, and defend. Engraved on live rounds and shell casings. Oh, he had it engraved on other live rounds that were left behind. I guess he ejected his magazine, or maybe.
Now it sounds like a distraction.
Well, live round. He left live rounds at the scene.
Maybe he had gun issues.
Maybe
and ejected them out. I don't know.
I mean, but he popped them off pretty quick. I don't know. It's maybe he did. Maybe after he decided to leave, he just.
What showed him? I remember watching the video. It showed him firing 1 shot, and then he had issues.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, before the first shot supposedly hit him in the calf. So I think
calf, huh?
Yeah.
It's not that experienced then. That's pretty low. So he shot him in the calf and then fixed the gun issue and then popped him.
Yeah, the video shows him having an issue after he fires the first shot.
Huh. Well, I didn't even know there was video. I should pull that up. We'll pull that up once we get through this. All right. So he shot Thompson, 50 years old, several times at about 6:46 a.m. before fleeing. Yeah, there's a little still frame of his pistol with a silencer. And anybody, you can make a silencer if you have a drill press. You're not supposed to. You got to get permits and you got to put numbers on them to do it legal. But you can do it. Even though people I know won't make me one because it's not legal if it's not registered. I have friends that are stupid because they obey all the laws.
I'll make you one.
No, you won't, Charlie.
No, I won't.
Whoop.
I could, though.
Yeah, in this fantasy world that we speak of. Moving on. The words are possible attacks on the healthcare industry. What? For the UnitedHealth CEO? This is the only thing that's irritating me about this is all right, he's the CEO of UnitedHealth. The dude waited for 50 minutes before he shot him. It was targeted. He's going to a UnitedHealth conference. Yeah, it has to do with the industry. Unless his ex-wife just hates him, which it doesn't sound like, or his estranged wife. Unless it's something personal. But if it's just something personal about, I don't know, you cheated on your girl or something like that. I mean, maybe those words would make sense, but probably not. You get some. This is what you do. So your CEO boyfriend cheats on you, right? And it makes you mad, and you go, "We gotta off this guy." Clearly, what you do is you go to one of the seedy bars, you find a down the out guy, you go, "Hey, let's meet in the bathroom." Slide him a little $100 bill, show him you're serious. You go, "Hey, let's kill this guy." I go, I don't know. You go, "Hey, how about a little cocaine?" And he goes, "Well, maybe a little." And then after that, you go, "All right, we killing people now?" And you go, I got how much money? You go, I don't know. I don't know what a good rate is for killing people, but research it first. $1,000? I mean, down now. You go, $1,000, and maybe a bonus if you do it quickly, And so then he goes, well, all right. And you go, and here's a little taste. Here's $200 now, you know. And that guy goes and he shoots him, and he just walks right up to him, you know, because he's got a really bad gun that he bought off of somebody. And he just goes, dah! And then he doesn't know what to do, and he just kind of walks away and hopefully hopes he doesn't get caught. That's what happens when someone cheats on you, you know. That's how you get someone to get. This guy, I don't think anybody hired this guy. I think this guy, unless they never catch him. If they never catch him, someone hired him. But they're probably going to catch him. And so I think this is personal, but it's clearly about insurance. All right. I don't know what this video about the Soviet Union has to do with anything. All right. Delay, deny, defend. 2 of the 3 words. Oh, yeah, depose was the other one. Seemingly left is subtitled Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. Police are looking for possible ties to the book, as well as more general references to the health industry as a potential motive. The book's author, Jay Feynman, a distinguished professor. How do you pronounce that? Emeritus?
Emeritus?
Nah, I don't know. We're too stupid.
I don't know.
I don't think it's itis. I
We're
think
apparently not that distinguished, I guess.
emeritus.
He's distinguished. We're not.
Yeah, whatever. Rutgers. Whatever. Coach Shiano is from Rutgers.
He was better at
Emeritus. That's it. It's emeritus. Just Professor Emeritus at Rutgers Law School. Anyway, he declined to comment because he was like, this book, nothing to do with murdering people. It's not,
He's like, I'm out.
I wrote a book about getting your claim approved. I didn't want this. I didn't advise this. Buy my book and you'll see. All right. So cops had recovered 3 live 9mm rounds and 3 discharge casings in front of the Hilton Hotel on 6th Avenue, where Thompson of Minnesota was set to host an investors conference that morning. Sources said several of the pieces of evidence each contained one word, indicating the killer may have been trying to leave a message as investigators tried to piece together a motive. He might have just I don't know. It could be something too, where he's about to leave. He's like, well, I don't know, maybe these casings are going to get kicked around in chaos. Let me just drop 3 more. Or drop these 3 bullets. Like, I want these messages to be found. I mean, clearly, because if he was like an assassin type guy, not trying to leave a message, one, you wouldn't write on them, and you might pick up your casings, you know. But, you know, if you only wear gloves when you load your gun, you just let the casings go. It's 9mm, you know, especially if you do your own reloads. Like, that doesn't narrow it down very much. 9mm is like the most common gun in America. We should call this episode Lessons in Hiring an Assassin. All right. All right. Thompson's estranged wife, Paulie Thompson, 51. Yeah, an older dame there.
I don't think she would be off at him because she's getting alimony.
Nah, she told NBC News hours after the murder that the CEO had been getting, quote, some threats. Basically, I don't know, a lack of coverage, she said, suggesting it was tied to her husband's job. I don't know details. I just know he said there were some people that had been threatening him. And it was the CIA. No, just kidding. All right. So the masked gunman used a silencer and appeared to be an experienced shooter if he shot him in the calf the first time, I don't know. Based on surveillance footage obtained by the Post. He was seen waiting, I guess if you're nervous, though, you've never committed murder and you're about to do it in broad daylight. Or maybe you screw up and you aim bad. And actually silence. Have you ever shot with a suppressor? Mm-mm. So if you don't modify your sights, the top of the suppressor kind of gets in the way of the front sight. And so it can be, you do have to adjust. It is something. So if he hadn't practiced with the suppressor on it, silencer, if you hadn't practiced with it, it could make sense to shoot low the first time because it could make sense.
Like the weight's tipping it forward.
Well, the weight tips, but also if you, I'll do it for the camera there, you get your sights like that, right? And that's how you want them. So if you got the suppressor, this thing's gone, and now you got this mound here. So you may lift up.
Guessing, yeah.
Yeah, you might lift up to
yeah.
compensate to make things line the way you want, but you go, oh, that went way far down, you know? I'm looking forward to seeing what that looked like on camera.
Yeah, I don't know, like, appeared to be an experienced shooter. Like, what is driving them to think that?
I think, well, maybe later when we're riffing, maybe you can pull up that video. But my thoughts are just simply having a suppressor. It's not easy. I mean, you gotta. It's not hard as paperwork, but unless of course you made it. But there's doc stamps and stuff involved. The writing on the bullets makes you think that he does reloads, which once again you could just look it up how to do it. Like, if you don't know much and you go, all right, let me think about how to kill a man, and you're just like somewhat intelligent person that goes, all right, I'm going to try to not get caught in doing this while also delivering a message, and you scheme for however long it takes. You might be able to figure out these things, but it does point to somebody familiar with firearms at least. And perhaps the way that he held I haven't seen the video. Let me see this still, or if you can tell at all how he's holding that pistol.
Okay.
I mean, it looks like he's
two-handing it.
Yeah, and I can't really tell, but it does look like he might be. I mean, he's got a good stance. He does have a nice stance. I don't know. Yeah, he might be. All right. Beep, 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 beep. All right. Been threatened. There's some pictures. Look, there's a bullet. The masked gunman used a silencer, actually called a suppressor, and appeared to be an experienced shooter. He was seen waiting outside the luxury hotel for his target, the CEO with a yearly salary of nearly $9.9 million, which, by the way, when you're the CEO of like $1 billion company, you get paid well. Because if you're bad at your job, lots of money is lost. Lots of money is lost. So anyway, before he calmly, that must be the other thing, is that he stayed in the pocket and he took his shots. He calmly fired off multiple shots at close range, causing Thompson to stumble and collapse. The gun had jammed, what you were saying, but the calculated and methodical killer was able to clear it. That's okay, showing he was a skilled gunman and continued to fire at his victim. Okay, so he's familiar with the jam. He cleared it and kept going. Let's see what this little picture is. What we know about the shooting of UnitedHealthcare. Start at 1. All right, at 6:44, the victim is okay. I don't care about the victim. All right, he's walking alone. 2, the shooter, who was lying in wait alongside the building, fires at him. Oh, okay. 3, the shooter runs to an alleyway over there. Once he gets somewhere, the shooter continues to walk on 6th Avenue, where he gets onto an electric bike. It's one of those city bikes. Shooter rides north on 6th Avenue towards Central Park, and at 6:48, the shooter rides the bike into Center Drive, which is in Central Park. Which, all right, so we see that he's got just sort of a normal-ish winter jacket covered up to here. You can see he's a white dude. Let's take a peek at this fella again. Let's make some stereotypes. All right, he's a white dude. I don't know. Italian? I don't know. But, I don't know. He's pretty white for Italian. Either way. So you go into the park with this, right? I don't know what's in that backpack, but I bet you there's a change of clothes.
Yep.
So you go to anywhere in the park that doesn't have cameras that I guarantee this dude looked up. He takes the bike. He gets off the bike because it's got GPS. He walks to wherever, where it's tree covered. He changes out of this. He changes into anything, a bright red hoodie, and that's really all you'd have to do. Bright red hoodie, maybe a baseball cap, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what his hair is under there, but then you just walk. And honestly, if I was him, I would probably exit. I wouldn't exit exactly where I came in. That might be asking for it a little bit. But, I wouldn't go to the other end of the park to exit. I would exit somewhere close. And that way you look different. You exit at a fairly random point, but not, I don't know, not an escape route type thing. Maybe you even double back. Maybe you go further into the park and then you double back a little bit on your exit. I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. Let's see what else they got for us. All right, you ran the alley. Okay, you ran the alley, hopped on an e-bike, rode north. Oh, he made some major mistakes that could help investigators identify him. He bought a coffee, a water bottle, and 2 power bars at a nearby Starbucks before killing, and tossed his bottle and coffee cup in a trash can. Well, there's the DNA evidence, which cops dug out of the garbage now have evidence, according to sources. Wouldn't it be crazy if this is like some Jason Bourne stuff and like he didn't? He just took someone's cup and water.
That's what this is just, this just smells like that is a distraction.
Except for, I'm guessing they have him on camera at Starbucks in that outfit.
That one picture that we were looking at is the picture.
Oh, that was Starbucks?
That was Starbucks. Yeah.
Okay. I don't read it right. Okay. Well. But, okay. There's 1 or 2 homeless people in New York, right?
Just a couple.
So if you're able to track one of them down, you go, hey, you want a coffee and a water? You go, all right, drink this coffee and this water. You go, no, here.
Interesting.
I'll throw it away for you. If it's Jason Bourne type stuff, he probably just screwed up and didn't think they were going to track it back. Okay, that was that. And investigators also found a phone in the alleyway near the Hilton, which they believe belongs to the killer. Yeah. Okay. The lot of evidence could also help investigators determine a motive. At this point, we do not know why. Thompson led the country's largest private health insurer, which has a controversial history of rejecting customers' claims, which is every insurance company.
Right.
But he was well respected. Blah, blah, blah. He's dead. Source confirmed that he'd been receiving threats. I imagine the CEOs of all the insurance companies receive lots of threats. Yeah, we're done with this article. I don't know. Give me some thoughts.
It's just weird to me. All of it's weird.
It is. When I just heard about it,
I just don't know why he doesn't have security. That's all.
that is odd. I mean, what was it just under $10 million a year salary? Like, you start getting threats, like you just call Gavin DeBecker. Like, and there's other people too, but call Gavin DeBecker or any of the ones that are not as good as him, and like you can just get one guy, just one guy if you're not that concerned, or you can get a detail, But like
A driver? Like, why are you walking alone, dude?
if it's a nice day, it's New York.
It's the morning, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you go to New York, you walk a lot more than you do everywhere else because you go, you get on the subway, I can get a taxi. A taxi costs money. I can do that. I'll just walk. It's only this many blocks, And maybe he was staying at the hotel and he left. He's probably staying at a better hotel, but maybe he left to get a coffee and he came back, or left to get breakfast and came back, and that was kind of the cue. I'm wondering if we're going to find out about an inside man, like even an unintentional inside man, a bellhop, front desk person who tells their friend or relative who has been mourning a loved one who was denied coverage and subsequently died, or denied coverage and subsequently went bankrupt or other financial ruin. Bad thing happened. Insurance said, no, bad thing happened. And so they went like, man, those bastards, they're having a conference in our hotel. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, they're having a conference in our hotel in December. Like, ugh. Like, I was like, huh, and maybe even had his relative or friend just be like, let me know when he leaves in the morning. Let me know whenever he leaves. Like, hey, yeah, he just left. Why? What's up? It's like, maybe he says something like, I'm gonna throw paint on him like those protesters. Sorry, I just got this. What the hell? Oh, okay. Um, sorry, work text. So I wonder if there's an inside guy, or this guy probably stayed at like a. I mean, Hilton's aren't bad hotels, but I don't know when you make 9.9 million if you stay at like rad places. And maybe he lives in Manhattan. I don't even know. It says he's from Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. And if you're from Minnesota and you're worth 10 mil, Hilton's still pretty nice in Manhattan. I mean, not to disparage, but come on. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I wonder.
And dude had to have seen. I mean, if we're gonna call this guy a professional,
I don't know if I want to, but go ahead.
but how close that surveillance camera is to it, it's just like, wait. I mean, you could have gone down a little bit further, or start a little like look at your surroundings. You know.
And I don't think he's a professional. I think he is the party who is suffering, either directly or because of a relative or whatever. But these cameras these days are 4K, some are 8K. And so the thing about it is you could, like that picture we got of him, or even this video obtained by the New York Post where he's walking down and he's shooting. It might be something where there's just maybe there's no other option for an angle. Maybe it's like, this is the angle it's got to be, but that's why you got the hood up. That's why you got the block. That's just what it got to be. But it also could be that this has been digitally zoomed and cropped. Because even historical little buildings in downtown St. Petersburg have very excellent cameras that can zoom quite well. I guarantee. And I can talk to people through them sometimes. Nice. Yeah, they just don't have very good speakers. Because I tried to do it. No one heard me. Or whatever. So yeah. So like not obviously. It does seem like this has to do with him or a loved one, not getting coverage they need. Because it is frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've had
My mom got denied a couple times from them. But I did not take it that personally.
Well, of course. But it angers you because they tell you stuff that's totally nonsensical, or you go like, just come here and look. Was it that kind of thing for you?
Well, what ended up being the most frustrating is how many phone calls it took.
Oh, yeah.
And how many representatives were looking at the system differently and getting different information. And I'm like, are you guys looking at multiple systems? Like, no, I promise you I filed this. They're like, no, it says you didn't. I'm like, okay.
Yep. So, and that part's frustrating. Well, who was it? Somebody was telling me about their friend. Who was it? Anyway, something about someone had Parkinson's. It was like someone's spouse had Parkinson's, right? And I think Rachel was telling me, but they had care. They had care for a while, and then like I think it was United, but they were questioning some of the care that was needed, and they're like, no, this person's like debilitated with Parkinson's, like they have to like live in a facility and all that kind of stuff. That person ended up dying, and then they came back. They go, hey, we think some of this care wasn't necessary, and you owe us, whatever it is, $50,000, $100,000. You owe us just a butt ton of money because we were providing care that was not necessary. And then you have to sit there and go, so now I have to fight a $1 billion company over whether, like, I was sitting there dealing with a loved one with a serious medical condition that was actively killing, him or her. And that was enough to process. We finally get through it. And luckily we had insurance to provide these services at a cost we could barely afford. And now you can come back and go, nah, psych. You didn't need all that kind of stuff. It's like, according to who? You just made that up. Someone just made that up. They go, not that one. And that's how we all feel like when that stuff happens. Is go, you're just making it up. Like, come look at the situation. Like, you're just going, well, I don't know. And even like in the pain management world, not like giving opiates, but like actual pain management stuff. There are there are procedures where you can kind of like you burn a nerve, basically, you kind of kill the nerve so you don't feel the pain, or radio frequency ablation. And so that is something that can be done. But insurance a lot of times goes, well, we want you to try this step
first.
Yeah, like the injections of like whatever, anti-inflammatories and all that. And they go, okay, but we want you to do it this many times. And you go, I get you, but it would be actually cheaper for everyone to just go to the step that'll work, you know? And they go, nah, let's go through these first. And you go, all right. So even with a doctor who is the expert in this situation going, in this situation, we should really do this step. They go,
That's because they have a doctor saying otherwise.
Yeah. Well, and it's the problem with having insurance involved the way it is. Insurance is supposed to be for a car wreck. Insurance is supposed to be for falling off a roof. You know, like insurance is not supposed to be for everything. And the problem is once insurance figured out through the help of our government, which very much was helped even more through Obamacare, once insurance was involved in every medical transaction, including seeing your local doctor for a checkup, prices changed because now you need Medicare, Medicaid for insurance for people that can't have it otherwise. And so then they become a huge customer block, and then they dictate the reimbursement rates. Like, we reimburse it 65% or 60% or whatever it is. And so then you go, all right, well, I have to have this priced high enough that when I get 60 cents on the dollar, that pays for the procedure plus the month and a half of paying my insurance and Medicare navigator or navigators. And so suddenly you have to price it up like this just to do something that it's why like for an MRI, through my insurance, $800 for me. If I just pay cash, $246. And it's just like that means the service probably costs about $246. But it's something that's not going to change. Like you can't legislate this away. This is something where it's going to be like the hearts and minds of people have to change, and we have to like do the subscription medicine maybe through doctors. We have to just reject insurance companies outright and only have, which Obamacare made difficult, but only have plans for disastrous situations where you find yourself hospitalized with, tens of thousands of dollars or what have you, like that's, and you can get better plans, but we don't need a system. We need doctors to not accept insurance for a checkup, It's just like our checkup price is $50. No insurance, it's $50. You're $30, whatever it is. I don't care. But there should be lots of routine things that doctors should just go, we're not doing insurance on this. We're just doing cash. Here's my
That's a good idea.
Well, and then they're doing it. There's especially with nurse practitioners, they're able to open up these like subscription based services where you pay 20 or 30 bucks a month, and then they give you a menu. For that you can have this many sort of routine, just like checkup type deals.
Yeah.
And they go, if you want this type of thing, it's going to cost this much, but they give you a menu.
Logical. Jesus.
Yeah. And they go, an x-ray is this much because, it costs more. But they don't go, I don't know, let's just give you a bunch of tests, give you a bunch of shots, and we'll bill it. That's fine. It's just like, all right, let's figure out what you need and do that, And so if that method needs to keep growing, because I'm not necessarily opposed to private insurance. I don't find it all that private, to be honest. I think this is one of these other industries of huge amounts of government collusion. But it does not need to be this big. It needs to be small.
Well, especially since like just any notification, any sort of process in it takes so long. Do you know I just got a claim denial for my mom 4 months later?
Oh.
For something that happened back in June.
Yeah, well, and that's like the story from Rachel, yeah.
Threw it out. Don't care. I literally don't care. I'm not paying anything.
Are they going to hit you with a bill?
I have no idea. And that's the other thing. United Healthcare makes their notices look like bills, but they're not bills. I told him, I said, stop marketing it like a bill. They're like, it does it say anything on a bill? I'm like, no, but you have cost breakdown. You have what your responsibility is, what your cost is. I'm like, this is a closet bill. Stop making it look like a bill.
Yeah, and if it's a bill, send me a bill.
I told him, I said, I don't see this on your. I logged in. I don't see this as available to pay.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's because it's not a bill. And I'm like, why are you sending it to me?
No, yeah, Blue Cross Blue Shield does that too. I get those all the time. Like, you may owe this portion. It's like, all right.
Is it a tease? Like,
Okay, yeah, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Well, here's a little twist in the United Healthcare story. So, our slain fella, United Healthcare Group Chairman Stephen Hemsley and 3 senior executives, including our fella who passed, netted a combined $101.5 million from stock sales made over 4 months, leading up to when the public became aware of a federal antitrust investigation. All right, so the sales occurred between October 16th, which was a week after they received a notice from the Justice Department about a... wait a second. Okay, yeah. So the United Healthcare received a notice from the Justice Department about the investigation on October 16th. All the executives started selling their things. On February 26th was the last day they sold. The next day, Bloomberg published stories about the investigation. Stock price drops. Let's see. There's no schedule. You know, some people have a scheduled when they get stock options, you know. So that, but there's no, it doesn't look like that. DOJ is reviewing whether United Healthcare's acquisitions have consolidated its position in some markets in a way that violates antitrust laws. Yeah, United Healthcare isn't really talking about it. But here's a nice chart. So they get notified. Hemsley sold for a $56 million gain. And he sold for a $29 million gain. And then quarter 4 earnings, news of DOJ becomes public. Plop. So it looks like from, anywhere from $5.25 to $5.50 a share. It dropped all the way down to, I don't know, call it $4.75 a share. And I'm not going to read all this stuff. But basically these cats, including our slain victim, they cashed out a butt ton of shares while they're being investigated. Well, after they were notified they're going to be investigated for antitrust stuff, which is whatever. But it's going to tank your stock. And so the thing is, I don't know that they've bought it back yet, but you go through this, drag down. Now you take, you take 60% of the money that you cleared, you buy it back, get the exact same number of shares. So I don't know if this guy.
And you're getting it at a discount.
Because you know what it's actually worth, and you know that the reason it's dropping is because of this federal subpoena or this federal investigation that may or may not even go. You pay the lawyers will make it go away. You're going to be fine. And what you know is your lawyers go, I think we've settled. I think we've come up with a settlement. I feel good about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah? So, we feel good about this. It's like, cool. Bye. And then they buy a bunch. Price starts to raise just from that. Settlements there, price goes up, and it's not as corrupt as what our government does, but I imagine if you are someone suffering from getting claims denied and you see that they've gotten so huge that you're in the antitrust realm of how big you are, too big to fail, and that a couple of y'all were able to clear $100 million in suspicious trades that might be insider trading. Like, I don't know. That might be a little pepper on the gumbo.
All those shares they sold were probably given to them for free, too.
Oh, yeah. Stock options.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it wasn't just a discount. They got them for free. And then, like you said, if they rebought, they probably rebought at a discount.
Oh, yeah.
Unreal.
And they haven't even gone through the actual investigation yet either. Right. So like,
it's gonna be ridiculous.
So this is like another investigation on top of it. But now so we don't know the true motivations, but everything kind of speaks to it being about rejected claims. Real quick. Well, this is just an aside. Bitcoin broke 100,000 last night. It's back down now, which is to be expected. People are going to be cashing out gains, stacking some moolah, and it had been testing that 100,000 line a lot. We got all the way up to like 103, 104. So I feel good about it.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm thinking my magic number is 165, right? But sometime between now and February, I think it might hit 200 grand.
It could.
Yeah. I mean, 165 is my magic number, but I don't know. It could go as high as 200.
I was looking at the charts the other day, and I think like November of next year, buy again. I'm gonna buy
or crashes. Yeah.
It's going to come back down. Buy period.
Yeah. No, I agree. The question is, when it crashes this time, what is it going to crash to? What do you think?
I would say 80, 90, something like that.
I was thinking 60, 70. We're in a similar area. Yeah, okay. All right. So some other fun news. The artist, Hunter Biden, he's an artist, Charlie.
Yeah, that's just not the first thing I referred to.
He's an artist. His art is worth like $500,000 a painting, which I read a thing that I think he's in a lawsuit right now with like a eviction or something, where the guy's complaining that Hunter Biden tried to pay him with his own artwork. And he goes, now that he's been pardoned, is this pardoned? So he's literally going like, hey, I'm owed rent here. Like, did that get federally pardoned by the president? Biden pardoned his son in a grand way. That is great. Like he would like do the blow pen thing. He go on the canvas, and then you're like, hey, look at this Jackson Pollock type stuff, right? Hey, you like it? And people, all these like Ukrainian and Chinese nationals were like, I like it so much. What is it? $500,000, $1 million? Yeah, here you go. Cash. And it's like, oh, that's cool. All these like artists who've developed over time, who are, contemporary stalwarts or whatever. There's some people that have been around doing good work for a while that do not get $500,000 for a painting. Anyway, St. Pete actually is the home of one of them, a fellow named Stackhouse. He does some really cool stuff. He has been doing it for decades. But you can get his paintings for under $500,000. Anyway, so Biden issued an unconditional pardon for Hunter. Hang on, let's see. President Joe Biden, other elements of his administration have managed to evade the legal consequences meted out to Americans of other political stripes. Biden apparently figures his son should be afforded the blah, blah, blah. After repeatedly vowing he would not do so, and just months after declaring without qualification, no one is above the law. I'm sorry. He said, Biden issued a full and unconditional pardon for his son, Hunter Biden. The pardon gives Hunter a pass on any crimes committed between January 1st, 2014 and December 1st, 2024.
You could do nearly a year of crime?
No. A decade. 11 years of crime.
Yep, I'm an idiot.
No, it's like they say 10 years, but it's from January to December. This 11-year window of clemency not only lets him off the hook for his felony conviction on gun charges and for his felony tax offenses, but also conveniently overlaps with the Biden's scandalous dealings with the Ukrainian company Burisma, where Hunter was appointed director in 2014, as well as with the communist state-linked organization CEFC China Energy, and other questionable foreign entities. Yeah, brazen, unprecedented. Yeah, Biden said, I'm satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. That's what he said in June. I said I'd abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him. That was in June. I will not pardon him. And then on Sunday, day after Kash Patel became the FBI director, Biden signed the pardon. And this was his excuse. These charges in this case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he's my son, and that's wrong. There's been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober.
When?
No.
When?
No.
I just watched a video of him the other day tweaking, and Joe's just trying to ignore it, and Joe is just smiling, trying to ignore it.
5.5 years sober. Come on, don't just lie to us. If he would have said,
they found coke in the White House. How?
I know. If they said 18 months, I'd be like, all right. You know? If they said something like that, I'd be like, all right, yeah, maybe 18 months. All right. Yeah, come on. Even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution and trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me, Jack. And there's no reason to believe it'll stop here. Enough is enough. According to Biden, his son, who, okay, this is a little bit of color added to it. According to Biden, his son, who had an affair with his dead brother's wife, that did happen, initially refused to acknowledge and then attempted to avoid paying child support for the daughter he sired with a former stripper, used illicit substances that would land other Americans in prison, crack, enriched himself abroad using his family brand, and allegedly engaged in an international influence peddling scheme with his father.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So, all right. So the crazy thing about this part, and we can help this
They
out.
call it a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that was what Hunter was hoping with that stripper, was a little miscarriage for justice. So Biden issues this pardon that says all crimes for this 11-year period, those that he has pled guilty to, that he did, because he pled guilty to them. He said, I was on drugs and now I'm sober and I forgot to pay my taxes. And they said, well, after you sobered up, did you pay your taxes? He said, no, but I'll pay them now. Well, don't get me wrong. Taxes are stupid, you know? And the gun charge is stupid. Like, who cares? But he pled guilty to these things. Like, did it come to be because there was political pressure after the laptop came out? Yes. That being said, would any other human being in the United States who didn't pay millions of dollars in taxes, would they have been investigated? Yes. Yes, that's just equal justice, you know? But the biggest problem is the open-endedness of anything else that occurred during those 11 years. If he strangled some hookers.
Yeah, like, what don't we know?
I mean, with that laptop, I think we know a lot of stuff. But seriously, like all the charges for I don't know, buying prostitutes, you know, which I think prostitution be legal. I'm not saying that we should go after them for the hookers or the coke or the crack or anything else. But currently, all those things are technically illegal. And so it's like, all right, well, those are covered. What if we found out he, I don't know, he got too much with one of these hooker strippers and just drowned her in the bathtub? I don't know why that came to mind, but but I don't know. He did crack in the bathtub. But anyway, if there was murder, that would be gone. There was questionable things about his niece. His niece did not always feel comfortable with Hunter, her uncle/mother's boyfriend, because he would walk around in the nude or in his underpants or whatever. and like there's text messages about it. And so I'm hoping nothing happened there. But if anything happened there, or even if like neglect, these sorts of things, exposing oneself, these are not possible. It's a blanket pardon of anything that may have happened. And here's the fun part, right? A federal judge who's over one of these cases, Hunter's lawyer submitted something like, hey, let's dismiss it because, like, look at this thing that Joe Biden said. They did not include the pardon itself. I don't know if the pardon has been signed and all that. Like, Biden said, I want to pardon him, but Hunter's legal team didn't have a copy of the pardon, which you would think if anybody is going to get a copy pretty quick, it's going to be the president's son. So they just said, hey, look at this. Biden said so. And so the judge basically said, like, show me the pardon. And obviously I'm going to listen to it. But there's some constitutional problems with this pardon. Like, for one, he signed it on December 1st. And it says it covers through December 1st, right? So if he signed it at noon, theoretically, that means Hunter has from noon to midnight to just kill, just smoke crack and kill and buy hookers and do it on the lawn.
Maybe kill CEOs of healthcare companies.
If he's so inclined. Let's look at the picture. No, but it is one of those things where you can't pardon somebody in the future. Like, even if it's just a couple hours, like you can't do that.
Is it the longest span pardon given?
It has to be. Most people are saying they haven't seen anything this broad since Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. But that was not for a period of 11 years. It was just saying, like, hey, let's move on. And possibly because the CIA and FBI want to get rid of Nixon, and Gerald Ford was never voted into office. He became president without ever being elected. Spiro Agnew was the VP on the Richard Nixon ticket, and then he got kicked out for corruption stuff, which I'm going to have to look into that some more. But he resigned or whatever, got kicked out for that. And then Gerald Ford was picked, and then suddenly, and he was very friendly with the deep state or with the military industrial complex, but all the same. And then suddenly Nixon's got to go. And this man who's never been on a ticket, he's president. Wild. It's just wild. So anyway, but that was the last time there was this broad of a pardon. So it seems like you shouldn't be able to do that. So I am going to run for president.
Yeah, he really sets the precedent.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to start this. I think I'm going to start at the Florida House. I run on eliminating the gas tax, by the way.
Perfect.
Yep, both at the user fee and the fees that are for the pumps and all that stuff. We're going to save a lot of money. For real, I might do that. I'm going to work my way up. I want to become president. I'm going to pardon everyone I can think of for their entire lives.
Man, I got some ideas right now.
Just wait till it's actually realistic. Let's not get crazy. I'm going to just be like, all right, you're pardoned for everything. And like, depending on how things go, how much this is abused, if it goes in the future, pardon into the future. At least myself. Wouldn't that be fun? I pardon myself for my entire life. For my entire life, I am above the law. Signed, President Frank. If that was actually legally possible,
Kraft pardons
Frank Kraft, yeah. And that would be like literally if I wrote my own pardon for my entire life, that would be the last sentence. I am above the law. Signed, Frank.
This is great.
Anyway, vote for me and I'll set you free. Little Temptations quote
like
there.
that.
It's from the song Ball of Confusion by the Temptations. Surprisingly relevant today. Yeah. All right. So, so there's this dude. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to go into this. So there's Hunter, right? And you go, well, that makes sense. His son. And So this judge also took issue with Biden saying there's no reason, like this is, no one would ever do this. So this judge of their case is like, he's confessed to doing crimes. He said he didn't pay him because he was on drugs. And then he said after he got sober, he didn't pay it. He said he did the crime. This is not something that only partisan hacks would do. This is not something only idiots would challenge. He's like, this is a legitimate crime. It's clearly a legitimate crime. He's guilty. He pled guilty. We found him guilty. We're on to sentencing. And he's like, pardon all you want, but, excuse me on your phrasing of this thing. So he basically said, I'm gonna do it because it's not, it's not worth that fight. Like, I'm gonna do it, but I take exception at a lot of this stuff in here. So now Politico talked to some Democrats here about future pardons. President Joe Biden's senior aides are conducting a vigorous internal debate over whether to issue preemptive pardons to a range of current and former public officials who could be targeted with President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House. Biden aides are deeply concerned about a range of current and former officials who could find themselves facing inquiries and even indictments. A sense of alarm, which has only accelerated since Trump last weekend announced the appointment of Kash Patel to lead the FBI. Patel has publicly vowed to pursue Trump's critics. I don't think that's how he said it. I think he said he was going to go after people who did extrajudicial, acts in order of trying to sink Trump. Okay, they're deliberating. Those who could face exposure include such members of Congress as J6 committee as Adam Schiff. Remember Adam Schiff? He was the guy during the Russian collusion that said, if you see what I've seen, and I am in the committee that sees these things, you know that he is guilty as hell. Every day he went on the news and said, I've seen the evidence. Y'all, I can't tell you about it. It's confidential, but I'm like the chair of the committee or I'm in the committee or whatever. And he's guilty. Like, he's clearly guilty. Of course, when it finally came out, they're like, yeah, there's nothing to it. But he just went, and that's the thing. Like, I hate just liars. Like, I can handle spin. I can handle omission. I can handle creative phrasing, but just an outright lie. I've seen it. There's evidence, and he is guilty. There was no evidence. He just lied. An example of spin that I accept. I don't like. But here's an example. Donald Trump, right? Libertarian convention. We talked about this. He committed to have a libertarian as part of his cabinet. Rah rah siskumbah. Well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. bought a lifetime membership into the Libertarian Party. I don't know what his voter registration says. Don't think it says Libertarian. Maybe it does. But he's in the cabinet. He's a Libertarian. Maybe there'll be more. There probably won't be more. That's probably it. LP National is saying, hey, look. Robert F. Kennedy, lifetime member. He's in. And they're trying to, spin it, get some press as RFK's a lifetime member of the Libertarian Party. And he's a trusted person. But the reality is, no one wanted that. No one in the Libertarian Party, not one human being who's a member of the Libertarian Party, wanted RFK Jr. to be the Libertarian. When you break it down, though, he's a lifetime member. He's in the cabinet. And you go, not technically a lie. You got one over on us, or I don't know. Trump really knows what a libertarian actually is, to be honest. But whatever. And so that's the example of being like, eye roll you. Yeah, all right. But that's not just lying. That was Adam Schiff, just lying. Liz Cheney is another one that might get a preemptive pardon. And because Trump previously, she said she should go to jail along with the rest of the unselect committee. And then here's another one, Anthony Fauci. Now this one would anger me. Adam Schiff later on in this, whatever, I'm kind of done with this article. Adam Schiff later comes out and goes, hey, let's not do these pardons. He's like, this is politically stupid. And I don't need a pardon. I don't think I did anything criminal. I don't think they're going to be able to come after me. Like, we don't need to do this. Now, Fauci and Liz Cheney, they did not return requests for comment. I don't know what Liz Cheney possibly did that could be criminal. I mean, actual criminal more so than what the Cheneys normally do. I mean, I mean, she's
it's the norm.
yeah. I mean, she's a Cheney, but I don't like thinking in the last few years. Like, I mean, war crimes, but that's more her dad. So I don't know. I don't know what she's got. But Anthony Fauci, I think there's something to it. And Elon Musk said his pronouns are prosecute Fauci, and I like those pronouns. And I do not think he should get a free pass on possible corruption. You know, possibly. I mean, the profiteering, like, and it's probably legal. But I don't know. I feel like Fauci has the biggest opening for some sort of prosecution. You know.
Well, and Fauci opens the floodgates to Gates.
Yeah. Well, like with Fauci, like, you know, Obama ended gain of function research, and Fauci gave to a proxy to fund gain of function research. That seems like an opening, you know? And if they have any emails where he knowingly, because remember they changed the definition of it. When, Paul, with all due respect, you do not know what you're talking about, you know? He just changed the definition of gain of function research. Well, if there's some emails out there that go, he knowingly funded it when Barack Obama made it illegal. Well, that's a crime, you know? I don't know. Probably slap on the wrist kind of thing. I doubt you even lock him up for a day, but it's a crime. We should go after him at least. Make him spend some of the money being the highest paid employee in the federal government. All right. Let me see. Okay. So anyway, they want to do these preemptive. They may or may not do these preemptive pardons, right? If they keep doing it, you know, the excuse is just, well, you know, Kash Patel is just like a Trump loyalist, and he's going to be willing to weaponize the FBI against these people and all that. But a lot of politicians break a lot of laws. And I would love to see a lot of politicians in jail. And that's not just Democrats, it's Republicans. I'd like to see a lot of them in jail. Now, not if they didn't do anything wrong, but let's figure out what insider trading is and isn't, shall we? You know?
Set an example.
Let's set an example. Dan Crenshaw can figure out what to do with that eye hole in prison, you know? He's a real cool guy.
I'll miss out on my 18%, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he likes talking about his deadlifts and his squats and stuff, so, like, plenty of time in prison. Plenty of time. Yeah, for you, I'd feel bad. But, yeah, he might still be investing. It won't do as good. But, I don't know. These preemptive pardons I have a problem with. I want to see anybody that's broken the law, get them. Get them. When we break the law, people get us. Mm-hmm. Get them. You know? If they didn't break the law, don't do a political attack on them. You know? But if they broke the law, get them. So this is an interesting thing. All right. Yeah, we'll kind of wrap on this deal. So, what's this fellow's name? Peter Navarro. He is something. He's some sort of Donald Trump assistant, whatever the hell, right? And he was in the first administration. And he just got named to this administration. Well, he, along with Steve Bannon, was named in contempt of Congress for not showing up to a January 6th investigation, right? And unlike Eric Holder, who did not show up, who was found in contempt of Congress when they were trying to investigate his authorizing running machine guns to the Mexican drug cartels. We ran machine guns to the Mexican drug cartels in hopes that they would sell them on the streets in America and we'd be able to track them and use them as a reason to restrict gun rights because of assault weapons and stuff. Believe it or not, when we sold the machine guns to the Mexican drug cartels, They used them to shoot people with lots of bullets.
No. So that just didn't work out, huh?
Not at all. But what did work out is the U.S. government selling machine guns to the drug cartels in Mexico. Operation Fast and Furious. Stupid name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is Vin Diesel involved?
He was. He was too fast. He was too furious. But anyway, he was found in contempt of Congress. No jail time. And to be clear, those machine guns killed American citizens. Lots of people died from Eric Holder helping run machine guns to the Mexican drug cartels. Anyway, these two cats, they said, no, we're not going to show up. Contempt of Congress. They actually went to prison. Or jail. They were locked up in a cage. All right, so this dude, Navarro, after the pardon, he wrote a letter. I just want to read it because I think the perspective is interesting. I don't know much about him. Just to be honest, I didn't even know he was in jail. But here it is. It's not bad. No one has the right to be more disgusted about President Biden's pardon of his son Hunter than I am. While Hunter will never see a day of prison for his heinous crimes, I spent 4 months in a Miami gulag for defending the constitutional separation of powers against a partisan attack aimed squarely at interfering with the 2024 presidential election. Here, the contrast is striking. Are you Biden apologists at the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC paying attention? Hunter was found guilty of 3 gun felony counts and pleaded guilty to 9 tax evasion charges. That's up to 42 years in prison alone and up to $1.4 million in fines. Yet, these crimes are child's play compared to the heinous acts Hunter might well have been prosecuted for, starting with his alleged human trafficking and prostitution sins. There's also Exhibit A on Hunter's laptop, which the FBI finally admitted was genuine. Miranda Devine's documentary Laptop from Hell shows a coked-out Hunter breaking drug laws along with a Ukraine Burisma influence peddling shakedown and treasonous schemes with Chinese Communist Party officials undermining U.S. economic national security. And to be fair, one of the things he did with China is he set up companies that were American companies where like he owned 51% or whatever, and he was able to buy technology. They acquired another company that stabilized fighter jets. And it's a U.S. company. China can't buy it. But Hunter Biden, who was the vice president's son at the time, could buy that company, allowing the Chinese military to get this technology that stabilized fighter jets. So Hunter Biden helped Chinese fighter jets be better.
I'm willing to bet I know where that stabilization technology comes from.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. I think it was in somewhere. I think it was in the southeast United States.
Well, that's location.
Yeah. You're talking about the company.
Yeah, it's probably Israeli.
Oh, I got what you're saying. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Maybe
we
originally.
Send a lot of our fighter jets our tech to Israel, and they improve. They're just, it's weird. It's like fighter jets alone, they're very good with improving.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, this one particular technology was an American one because they bought it, and then it became a Chinese one, of course. So it's not just like money laundering and like gas sales. Like, he literally strengthened the Chinese military. Okay? All right. Let's see.
Can he just get bad Coke? Can somebody just give him bad Coke?
When you're that rich, you don't get bad Coke. I mean, he's the president's kid.
Just somebody make a mistake? Just make a mistake.
I mean, at some point, he might be back to buying from street dealers. It depends. I just think that, he's at a level where you get, like, good cocaine. Yeah. A memo to Brian Kilmeade at Fox and Friends and the inimitable Janine Pirro on the 5. The 200 felons I broke bread with during my 4 months in a Miami prison look like Boy Scouts compared to Hunter Biden. Yet collectively, these convicted criminals will spend over 500 years in prison while Hunter eats steak and bonbons and cleans his cracked out false teeth with gold toothpicks. Nice. Now contrast this situation with my own. Are you listening, Joe Scarborough? Blah, 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 blah. As a top advisor to former President Donald Trump, I was issued an unlawful subpoena to testify before a January 6th witch hunt committee investigating Mr. Trump for the sole purpose of interfering with the 2024 election. If they could find that he was guilty of insurrection, they could make a constitutional claim that he was not eligible to run for president. And that was kind of the point of the committee. I refused to testify, not just because the subpoena was from an unduly authorized and illegally constituted partisan committee. I refused because Mr. Trump had invoked George Washington's doctrine of executive privilege, which is also what Eric Holder had. Accordingly, it was my duty to this country, the Constitution, and my oath of office to refuse to appear. Over the course of my trial proceedings, the Department of Justice itself had to admit that, according to more than 50 years of DOJ policy, senior aides, such as myself, have absolute testimonial immunity. The DOJ prosecutors further acknowledged that this policy exists to preserve the constitutional separation of powers between the White House and Congress and promote effective presidential decision-making, as the Supreme Court has repeatedly opined. Nevertheless, DOJ justified my prosecution in large part because Mr. Biden himself issued an illegal letter stripping Mr. Trump of executive privilege, by implication, me. As Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh said on the illegality of Mr. Biden's act in Trump versus Thompson, a former president must be able to successfully invoke the presidential communications privilege for communications that occurred during his presidency, even if the current president does not support the privilege claimed. Concluding otherwise would eviscerate the executive privilege for the presidential communications. So basically, the president's got to be able to do this. Be like, hey, he's not allowed to talk about what we talked about together. I was president, and it's an us thing, and you're not invited. It's an AB. You can see yourself out. That's what Brett Kavanaugh said. Let's see. I was found guilty anyway by an all-Democratic jury and sent to prison by an all-Democratic appeals court before I can have my appeals heard. Yes, the only working railroad in America is the District of Columbia Circuit Court of Appeal. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump lost D.C. I think Kamala got something crazy, 83 or 93% of the vote. D.C. barely has anybody that's not a Democrat. And so, you try a Republican in D.C. Guilty. It doesn't matter. Guilty. Now, Hunter gets the most sweeping pardon of anyone in U.S. history this side of Richard Nixon. I think it's more sweeping than that one, too. After his daddy promised America he would not do it. I do not want such pardon and refuse any that might be offered. All I want now, not for myself, but for the country, is for the Supreme Court to hear U.S. versus Peter Navarro on appeal and overturn my conviction, as more than 200 years of constitutional law surely says it must. If the court does that, our nation's highest court will settle very good law on two key constitutional issues. First, can Congress subpoena the president or senior White House advisor without violating the Constitution? Second, what constitutes proper invocation of the privilege? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's see. Anyway, I don't care about that. So basically, this is just a guy who he went to jail for 4 months for ignoring Congress, saying, no, I got executive privilege, according to former President Trump, who was the executive at the time. Biden goes, yeah, he can't do that. And so they go, he can't do that. So testify or go to jail. He's like, I'm not going to do that. And for probably the first time, I don't know if there's been a contempt of Congress conviction that has led to jail time. I'm unaware of one. Because like I said, if you can run machine guns, the Mexican drug cartel, and not talk about it and be found in contempt of Congress, I don't think, because it's a hard political move to say we as a Congress are going to use our power to arrest a political opponent whose only crime is not talking to us. It's a ballsy move that takes, you have to use your political capital to do it. It's a ballsy move. They were riding high after Biden got elected, and they were just like, we have to do whatever we can to keep Trump from running again. He won. And that's what they were afraid of. And so they were just pulling out all the punches. They were just like, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Just whatever it takes. And they overplayed their hand. And, you know, this election, and they continue to do so repeatedly. And they lost the American people, you know, like as prices went up on everything, as groceries got more expensive, as it got harder to just live. We were told that it was not harder to live. And that they're like, oh, Donald Trump's problem, Donald Trump's problem. All the cases were specious, you know. It's nothing was great, you know. And then their full court press to make sure that he could never run again backfired spectacularly in their faces. And not only did he run, but he won the popular vote and the Electoral College and all of the swing states and the House and the Senate. So I think the lesson here, hopefully for everyone, is this ain't how we play. You know, if you want to go unconstitutional, partisan warfare, like, it seems that people are starting to notice, you know, like,
thank God.
Yeah, I mean, arguably it's more dangerous when they agree, and when they play nice with one another, because then they push through horrible pro-government things. But you need to rein it in. You know, if there's a crime, go after the crime. If there's no crime, no one should be in jail. That's not just cabinet or Congress. That's all of us. If there is no victim, there is no crime, and there should be no jail time. If Hunter Biden, to be fair, smoked crack, paid a prostitute for her services, bought a gun, no one was victimized. He paid everybody for their time and their products, and he used them, and no one did anything they didn't want to do. No one lost. You know, all that was legal. There's other stuff, however. I mean, he didn't pay his taxes, but...
And the stuff we don't know about.
Well, the stuff that he hadn't been charged with, and that's why the 11 years is there. And I think when we stop funding Ukraine, I think some people throw some hissy fits and some things come out. And I think that's...
Always happens.
Yeah, I think it might even be a desperate Zelensky might even go, you know, you have to figure this out. Like, we need this funding because, you know, we just sent another, $725 million or something over. And it's like, we got to figure this out. You got to keep it going. It's like, remember, if you don't, I will tell, you know? And it's just like, yeah, he's probably going to tell. He's probably going to tell some things. Someone's going to tell some things. It's going to be for nothing. Maybe Russia tells it. Maybe Russia already has.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
You know, I don't know.
But maybe old Pooty Poot sees the long game and working with Trump. I don't know.
Well, it's also just not the time. Like, so if you're currently the villain of the world and you've attempted peace negotiations a whole bunch that have been like just totally rejected, but you're the villain of the world and you want to go like, hey, like, because he's mentioned a couple things, but you go, this is what happened. They're like, oh, you're a liar, you know? And so it doesn't matter. Like, if no matter what you say, it's going to be a lie, why say anything, you know?
Yeah, just wait. Yeah.
But I do wonder if desperate Ukrainian politicos or oligarchs do start throwing out some interesting things. You know, and like Joe probably doesn't have that many more years left, at least not somewhat fully functional, you know? And then after that, who's there to protect, you know? Because it's like, there's nothing left to buy. You don't, Hunter and what's Joe's brother's name? Anyway, Brother Biden and Hunter Biden don't have influence. They know people. They can call them, hey, how you? Oh, yeah. But there's no influence, you know. When Joe's gone, there's no cover. There's no influence. Like, no one's going to want to be seen with Hunter Biden, the guy that like smokes crack and films himself with hookers, you know, and like wears boas in his underpants and crazy stuff like that, you know. Like, no one's going to be want to see him with, like, if you go to jail, who cares? No one cares. No one cares. And so that's coming soon. So it's just...
And when one dog barks, they all bark.
Yes, that's true. They're all...
So if somebody if somebody unleashes some truths, more will come just because.
Yeah, because at some point it's like that guy's a liability. Just get rid of him. Who cares? Well, I think that's going to wrap us for this week. You got any other barking insights you want to provide?
No.
Okay. Well, bow wow yow.
Yippee.
Yippee-o? Yippee-a? Okay. Death Row's a label that pays me. All right. Well, follow us on all the things, YouTube, and I don't know, just like, subscribe. I think we should encourage people to do that again. Do all that. If you listen on audio, why don't you follow us on the video side, Rumble or YouTube. Yeah. Till next week. Goodbye.